Hey, Skill MTG here, and here are 5 tips for new cube creators to level up their cubes so that when you go build your cube and play it for the first time, you have the best experience possible. Okay, here we go. Don't worry about having perfect color balance in your cube. I see a lot of cube creators try to have the exact same number of cards in each color section of their cube. Don't stress out about that. In fact, I encourage you to be off a little bit. And what that's gonna do for you is allow you as the cube curator to play with the cards you wanna play with. If you find the perfect card for your environment, but it's gonna add and push you over the exact equality among the different colors, it's okay, put it in. Play with the cards you wanna play with and don't feel like you have to adhere to exact symmetry in building your cube. WotC doesn't. When they build a set, they don't have the exact same number of colored cards in their official releases, so don't feel that you have to as well. So let's talk about gold cards. Don't overdo it with the gold cards in your cube. Yes, it's okay to use gold cards as archetype signposts to give drafters ideas of the archetypes that you are supporting within your environment, but limit it down a little bit. Maybe go 3 or 4 cards at most for each guild color pair in a 360 size cube. If you start to go more than that, you're gonna run into some issues where a lot of those cards will likely go undrafted, and you'll find color pairs circling the table when what you could be doing as a cube creator is just playing a much cleaner single color card instead. Make gold cards feel special by having them be more infrequent, and it's okay to have gold cards be a little more powerful than your monocolored counterparts, and this will really entice players to want to draft those cards. Be selective in the gold cards you're putting in, and I'd say less is more, and really help your cube play great on its first go around. Speaking about gold cards, let's talk about fixing. Include more fixing than you think is necessary. My personal recommendation to new cube creators is to make 15% of your cube mana fixing. In a 360 cube, that's going to be 50 to 60 cards of your cube set aside for mana fixing. If you don't put enough fixing in your cube, you're going to find that players are going to struggle with their mana bases, and really you don't want that to be an initial barrier when you're first taking your cube out in its first and second draft. My next tip is to avoid color hosers. So let's talk about this. Protection, if you're a first-time cube curator, leave it out. Don't be putting cards with protection from specific colors in your cube. And that's almost the same for hexproof. Why is this? Protection and hexproof really lead to non-interactive games. And players at the table really want to feel like they have agency and the ability to interact with what their opponent is doing. If you happen to put, let's say, a Sword of Fire and Ice in your cube, and that person is playing against a player who's playing red or blue or both, that opponent is going to feel really bad and feel like they have no way to deal with this card. Just leave protection and hexproof out. I promise you, your players will thank you, and it's just a big hurdle that you can avoid right from the get-go. And then lastly, for new cube curators, don't try to have your cube list be perfect before you ever draft it. You're gonna get much better feedback and really figure out how you wanna continue to shape your cube by drafting it. So get your list together, sleeve them up, and go draft and play with your friends. I promise you, the feedback you get from that first session is likely going to adjust how you shape your cube going forward, probably in a pretty big way. If you're suffering from decision paralysis by trying to get your cube to be as perfect as possible before you ever draft it, just don't. Get the cube together, go gather up your friends, and go draft it. Then start to iterate after your first few drafts. I promise you, this will save you a lot of time, and then you'll be able to dive right into iterating and making your cube better based off that feedback. Go draft your cube and don't try to make it perfect first go around. That's it. Those are the 5 tips. I'll list them here in order so you can take a screenshot and just remember these, and hopefully these will help you level up your cube and get out there and enjoy some cube action that you and your friends will really have a great time with. So anyways, thanks for hanging. Thanks for chilling with me here. Don't touch that dial and let's keep cubing.